Hi, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you happen to stumble on this video because you listen out, because I have some nice stories here or some stories that can help you help a victim of domestic violence. My name is Alili and I'm a deeper speaker. Basically, I'll be talking about how you can help someone who is going through domestic violence. And also, there's a do not. There's a do not. So I'm new to this channel, not really new. I've been in this channel old, and I'd like you guys to follow me because my intention is to have 100 subscribers. 100 subscribers? 100 subscribers, that is, but let me tell you, I'm going to start making videos because my subscribers, so I want to thank you if you have subscribed. My subscribers have grown, and I'm going to start doing videos on how I am growing. I've had this channel for years, but I left it dormant. But I've decided that there's a lot of people who want to know about domestic violence, even guys. And I'll be doing some good TikTok dances so you can watch me. But let me just get straight to it. Now, do not advise. This is my topic today. Do not advise a domestic victim to leave their partner. A lot of times, most women will come to you when they're going through domestic violence. I'm not saying don't help them. I'm just saying that it is important that you understand that if a woman wants to leave her husband, most times when a woman is going through domestic violence, do not the first word that needs to come doesn't need to come out of your mouth is you need to leave. Because a lot of times these people are not even ready. If you make them leave their partner and they're not ready, they're gonna go back. You can advise them and tell them things like, if I were for me, I wouldn't stay in this situation. You can talk about what is going on with, what abuse is, and let them make the decision still stand on them. Because sometimes what domestic abuse victims want is for you to say it and for you to make them leave. Let me tell you, I have had women leave their husband. They'll be like, I need to leave this man. They'll be calling me and I will take them to the shelter, but they were not ready. If a woman is ready to leave abuse, she will leave. But do not pressure them to leave. There are many, 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 many reasons why women do not leave domestic abuse. Sometimes you're making this woman leave, but she loves this man so much and she cannot even fathom to stay without this man. So if you're making her leave, remember that she will. I remember myself when I was in a domestic abuse situation. I had a friend who would tell me, you need to leave. So I'll pack my things when my husband is not there and go. As soon as I got there, I'd been trying to go back. I have had women go to the shelter. After they go to the shelter, as soon as they reach the shelter, they're not telling me, they sneak out the shelter and they go back. There are many reasons why women leave. So how do you help a woman? How do you don't pressure them. The only thing I'm telling you is that do not pressure them to leave. Because if you pressure them to leave, there was a woman who was telling me the other day that she was in an abusive situation. And she told me, what do I do? What do I do? I told her, you can leave. You have that option. You're free to leave, but that is your choice. So you're telling them they can leave, but it is their choice. It's not because you're telling them. Because if you make them leave, let's say you force them, you pressure them, you have to leave, and they don't have money, they have kids, they're not prepared emotionally, they're financially, they're not. And most victims, if it's physical, yes, just up and leave. If it's physical, if you're being beaten, and if you don't have time to make an exit plan, you can leave. But for me, I believe that it is not for you as a friend. Do not pressure someone to leave their husband, because you can put them even at a worse situation than they are if they are not ready to leave. Imagine if you pressure them to leave. There was a lady that I that wanted to leave. So I listened to her and I said, okay, fine, I'll call a shelter for you. So I called the shelter for her and she left. But what I did not know is that she was not ready to leave. So as soon as she got to the shelter, she decided to go back. And the situation became even worse. You know, she decided, meaning she went there, and as soon as she got to the shelter, and some people don't even want to leave, because a woman who wants to leave, I always tell women that when the shoe hurts you enough, you're going to leave. Because a lot of them, the shoe doesn't even hurt them. A woman is telling you she wants to leave, but she's telling you, I can't leave. He's hurting me, but I can't leave because I'm a Christian. A woman is telling you, I can't leave because I can't leave because we wedded. Now, this man married you in church. This guy vowed that he will love you for the rest of his life. But this guy is on drugs. This guy is a drunkard. So you're in love with a guy who alcohol comes first. Meaning your love, he cannot give you love enough if alcohol and drugs is making him hit you, if alcohol and drugs is making him hurt you. You can leave. I'm telling you, you can leave. It says here, a lot of women use the Bible. They say, I cannot leave my husband because I have to be submissive. It says in the Lord, if a person loves Christ, he will not be drinking. If a person loves Christ, like Christ loved the church, he will not be hitting you. If a person, and that is the prerequisite for you submitting to that man. Let me go back to the topic. How do you support a woman who is being abused? Do not rush to tell them to leave. Okay? So the first thing is that you acknowledge that their situation is difficult, scary. It's brave of them to regain control. It's brave. You just tell you basically talk to them. You do not leave them, because a lot of times you still continue being their friends, but you don't pressure them to leave, because most women have to get an exit plan. And remember, when the most dangerous time for a victim is when the man knows that you are about to leave. They are threatened, and that is when they can harm you the most. So if you're helping a victim of domestic violence, you have to be very careful. No judging, not judging you don't judge their decision, you don't judge, their situation, you don't judge them, you refuse to criticize, you don't guilt them, you don't make them. The reason why I say it is important not to tell the woman to leave, because most women, they are never ready to leave. A lot of them want to go back, and when they go back, the situation gets worse and they get hurt. So before you tell them to leave, you yourself have to be ready to give them enough support. You have to make sure that you have that they are able to get help, where to stay, where the kids go, because there's a reason why most women are not able to leave. So you can just support them by not judging them, not criticizing, and the first step that they've done is talking to you about it. Now, remember, remember that you cannot rescue a woman who a victim. You're not the rescuer, and then decisions about their lives are up to them. The first thing that comes to my mind, even me, when I get a victim of domestic violence, is for them to leave. That's the first thing that comes. Yes, they need to leave, but they have to plan, because remember, you do not want to put this woman in a worse situation than she is already. You do not want to make things worse for her. You do not want her to be harmed. You do not want her to be homeless. So you have to talk to them about an exit plan, whereby you start telling them, giving them information excuse me, my allergies, on how to get help. But they have to know that they have to work it out themselves, not you. You know, when I started helping with domestic violence, I used to call the shelters for the women. Like, a woman would call me, they'd find my number on Facebook, and then tell me, hey, I need you to help me call domestic shelter. I need to leave. I need to leave. I would pick up the phone and call. They don't want you calling for them, but if they don't understand English, which I would tell them sometimes they don't understand English, and I would call for them and then make a three-way call for them to speak. I stopped doing that because what I realized is that if you are doing all the work for this woman and she goes to the shelter, you call the shelter for her, she calls you and tells you she wants to leave, you call the shelter for her, she leaves and goes to the shelter. Now, if she really was still like sitting on the fence whether she wanted to leave, but because you pressured her, now she's left, she gets to the shelter, she is not going to do the work. The shelter is not a place where people just go and sit and sleep and feel sorry for themselves and cry there, because a lot of people, they believe that, you know, once they go to the shelter, they don't realize that they have to work on living and on they're now by themselves. They don't have their husband. A lot of these women are used to their husbands doing for them everything. So you send her to the shelter and she's not ready. You pressure her to go to the shelter. As soon as she gets there, she starts feeling uncomfortable. The first thing she wants to do is to run back. And if she had hidden to go back, I had a woman who had hidden to go to away, you know, like on the day she left, her husband did not know, he was at work. But now she wanted to go back, and how to go back, and she already ran away. How does she go back? And she's the one who ran away. And now she's trying to figure out how she's gonna let me put my things back. Now, sorry, she's trying to figure out how she's gonna find her way back without sneak back in her own house. I tried to. The reason why she wants to sneak back is she's missing him, because a lot of times the victim is in love also with the abuser. So you've taken a woman who is so in love with the abuser that as soon as the abuser says, baby, 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 can you come back? Baby, I'm sorry. As soon as she hears, I'm sorry, oh, I'm not going to do it again, she's running back. And that is why I tell you, do not give her all the information, but the decision is hers. Because even there at the shelter, she'll have to do some work. She'll have to call the numbers, maybe get food stamps. She'll have to register her kids to school. And let me tell you, if you pressure a woman who was not ready to go to the shelter to go, as soon as she get to the shelter, she don't want to do nothing. She gets to the shelter, first of all, the food, she starts saying, I don't like this food. Then she'll say, these case workers, they want me to fill all these forms. I'm tired of filling these forms. You're like, now here you are. Oh, this, I'm calling these numbers, they're calling me. Nobody's helping me. This place is nasty. Let me tell you. Now you have told her to leave her husband. Okay? Now she's left her husband. She don't like that place. She already sneaked out. You can't hold her. You can't keep her in your house. Where is she gonna go? That's what I'm telling you. You can give the person information, but don't pressure them to leave their husband. Do not be the one who says you need to leave and you don't have support for her. Give her the resources, be her support. Let her make that decision alone, because if she don't make it alone, she will not do what she is supposed to survive out here by herself. She will not. And out here is hard. You're dealing with a victim who most probably was used to everything being done for her by her husband. Because a lot of these abused women, their husband don't let them do nothing. Don't let them fill forms. Don't let them register kids to school. Don't let them do nothing. When they go out there, they have to do the work. And you, a woman who does not want to be in the shelter, will tell you she don't even like the shelter food. Huh? You know, a woman. One of the things you need to do also is do not speak poorly about the man. The more you speak bad about this man, this woman will want to go back. So they advise us that if you're helping a woman who is going through domestic violence, one of the things that you don't need to be doing is to speaking ill of the husband. Don't speak ill of the husband. Okay. So another thing is help them create a safety plan. Now that's a very important. That's one of the most important things. What is a safety plan? A safety plan is helping them figure out, like they already know they're being abused, and unless it's so bad that they have to call 911 and leave, but they can figure out that where is their papers, because there's some women. Let's say he was doing green card for you. You want to make sure you know where the documents are, where your ID is, where your kid's birth certificate is. That's a safety plan. And also you have to figure out if you go somewhere, how are you going to survive, and all those things. So get a safety plan. Okay. Now, another way you can help a victim of domestic violence is continuing to be supportive to them if they do end the relationship and understanding, lonely and upset. Let me tell you, this is the best part you can do. It is lonely out there. When you leave your partner, most of the victims of domestic violence, their partner is their best friend. They've been isolated. They don't have friends. They are afraid. A lot of times they're scared of the future. They don't know what is going to happen. And they're scared because they don't have financial support. They don't have emotional support. This is where you come in for free. You come in for free. This is where you're needed, not to be telling them to leave. You start being supportive when you leave. You can be supportive without spending money. Because a lot of times the people who are helping the domestic victims themselves, they don't have the money to help. Now, another thing is continue to be, let me see here, offering to go with them to any service. So you can offer, like me, I'm supportive to domestic violence victims just by being supportive. I help them call the numbers. I help them look for places where they're going to live. I call them because let me tell you, the worst time that the most dangerous time for a domestic victim is when they're about to leave the partner. That is when a lot of women are either killed or hurt, you know. So let me see here. I hope I'm making sense. And if you haven't subscribed, because I don't want to make this video so long. Another thing is you can do is help them identify a support network to assist with physical needs. So you can actually help them look for like places where they can get free food, counseling, and all those things. So you just help them by giving them support. But at the same time, if they're not ready to leave, they won't leave. You've already told them. You plant a seed. You plant a seed, and let me tell you, me, my seed, when I was in a domestic abuse, somebody had mentioned something to me, and I didn't use it until maybe 6 or 7 months later. It's when I realized, oh, I had somebody had said something like this. Let me figure out. So do not think that whatever you're talking about or whatever you're saying to the victim, they're not hearing you. They're hearing you, they're not just using it yet. So keep on talking to them, keep on telling them that they can leave, they can be free. And even though they're not using that, they may need it and use it later. So just plant that seed. Now encourage them to participate in activities outside of their relationship. So start, encourage them, like they can go for walks, they can know their neighborhood. Those are exit plans. So encourage them to do that. Then also, what do you do? If they give you permission, help document instances of domestic abuse in their life, including pictures, injuries. Like if she's injured, take pictures, help document, and help them, keep records of those kind of abuse, or keep the documents for them, so that when she leaves, she has those documents, like birth certificate. Now another thing, birth certificates. Watching someone endure an abusive situation can be difficult, and it's not always clear how best to respond. When you see the warning signs, your instincts may be to save them, but do not be the savior. You hear me on that? So, back to the topic. Do not make a domestic violence victim leave her partner. Do not make them leave their partner, but you can plant the seed so they make that decision themselves. You don't want to make that decision to leave to be you. You will be blamed when they go back. You will be blamed if they get hurt, if you don't have enough support. Be supportive, encourage them that they can leave, show them where they can get help, but don't pressure them if you don't have the resources to help them. A lot of domestic violence victims have put themselves in trouble by somebody pressuring them to leave when they could have made an exit plan, taken time, and left. Somebody makes you leave to go live with them, then they kick you out 2 days after you get there. So do not listen to people. Work your exit plan. If everything is so bad, then call 911 and get help, and call police so that you can be helped. But do not just trust people who just come and tell you up and leave. You up and leave to live on the streets. You don't even know where to get help. Now, there's a number, the National Hotline for Domestic Violence. I think this hair is getting on my nose. It's 1-800-799-7233. I hope that's correct. That number, if you call, if you're in the United States, you can get help from anywhere. They will ask you for resources in your neighborhood. But the reason why I was telling you not to tell a domestic victim to leave is because if they are not ready, you'll be hurting them rather than helping. Okay? Because a lot of times they are not ready. They're not ready to take advantage of the resources. They're not ready to do the work. They're not ready to, if you make them leave, guess what? You will have to be filling their forms, because they'll be like, I don't want to fill up these forms. You'll be, I don't like to eat this food, or I don't like these schools, or I don't like this neighborhood, or I don't like, so what are you going to do? You brought them to a situation that then, let me tell you, a woman who wants to leave, you don't have to tell her twice. I stayed in domestic abuse for years. But guess what? When I was ready to leave, I was gone. I was gone. I didn't care if I had good shoes, if I had clothes. I left everything I wanted to leave, and I just upped and left. I hope this helps someone. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share this video with someone who you think is intending to leave. The number, the resource is 1-800-799-7233, or just Google National Hotline for Domestic Violence. If you are in Kenya, I still don't know if, please write down there how Kenyans can get help with domestic violence. If you live in any country, if you're not from America, if you're not in America, please guys, let's use this video to help others. If you have a number or you know a resource that can help somebody in any country, put it down on the comments. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube, please do. This is Adipa. This is a Lily with Adipa. I hope you have a good evening because it's late and I'm about to start working. May God bless you and have a good evening. Thank you. Or good morning, wherever you are. Wherever you are, it's some good morning, some evening. Subscribe, please. Adipa Speaker. Thank you.